my mouth, and if my mama called my name, I said yes, ma'am. Learned to get up for work on Mondays, played hard on Saturday and church on Sundays. And if that sounds old-fashioned, well, I guess I am. It gets in your blood, it's thick as mud.
Okay, here we are. We're back. If you're just tuning in, this is www.arkansasshowcaseradio.com show.
Exciting stuff happening today, Roy.
Oh yeah, we're going to be doing our interviews that we started doing a while back. And today we got legendary performer B.J. Thomas with the raindrops keep dropping on your head.
With Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Oh man, this guy has been everywhere, and he's done music with about everybody. Kenny Rogers,
James Brown,
Elvis.
Touch myself.
Yeah, it's too hot in hot tub. And but I mean, this is gonna be great. He's gonna be calling here in a little bit, and we'll get started with an interview with B.J. Thomas.
Right, so stay tuned. We'll be right back, and hopefully this is gonna be amazing.
I like it.
5 Grammys, gotta love it.
Bye bye. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Hello.
Hello, Roy.
Hey,
It's BJ.
Hey, BJ, what's up, man?
Hey, man. Same old deal. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Y'all shut in with the coronavirus and everything?
Oh, yeah, we're good. I mean, we're safe so far, but we've been pretty much quarantined in the house for about 106 days now. So
Oh my God.
we haven't taken any chances, and we're trying to be cool.
So now, what's your next little concert
we hope
date?
that pays off.
You have a concert coming up?
How about you? You guys staying safe? Obviously, you are, I guess.
No, we died, BJ. It killed us. No. Yeah, I was on 6 weeks. I put myself on quarantine, and I said, well, screw it. I got to face reality sometime.
Well, they just kind of said today in some news things that the controlling the virus now is out of our hands. We mishandled it and taken so long that it's loose now. There's nothing we can do about it.
Well, yeah, it's out of control. Here in Arkansas, they're having more cases every single day, 500 cases every single day. It's out of control.
Yeah. So, it's too bad we couldn't have, kind of stuck with some regulations, but that's just kind of against the grain, I guess. People just didn't want to do that. Anyway, let's don't get lost in all that. How are you guys doing?
Good. Oh, fine. So, hey, BJ, how many concerts are you doing nowadays?
Well, I'm not doing any right now, but I don't run that heavy, but I stay busy. I probably do around 60 is probably my average now for the last, say, 6 or 8 years. Of course, that's down from, hundreds to 100 a year. But, now I'm older now, so, I only do around, we were averaging them somewhere between 60 and 70 shows a year.
That's still quite
That's still a lot of concerts.
Now,
That was keeping me busy, so.
Now, I've seen a lot of these artists doing some of these concerts through Zoom and through the internet. Did you even think about doing anything like that for the fans and the listeners?
Well, yeah. We're kind of batting that around right now, and of course I have done a couple of things. One song at a time for this and that. And they have a thing this coming weekend, the fourth weekend, called Rock for Relief through feedingamerica.org, and I'm doing I did a song for that, and that's going to run this coming 4th of July weekend. So we're staying kind of active, and I'm doing some PR and some promotion work that sometimes I don't do because I'm busy on the road. But now I've got time, so I'm doing some of that. So we're staying kind of busy, But it's funny. We were just laughing about the days. The quarantine days are a lot like my show days because I go and I might fly in the night before or that morning, and I rest up all day, and then I do my show. But now I'm kind of resting up all day, but there's no show. So it's been it's been boring. But Gloria and I, we've been married 52 years, and
Holy crap.
we have kind of enjoyed the time we've had together. But it's some of it's not that easy.
Well, you've been in the business forever. I think since 15 or something like that. And how did you get started? I know everybody probably asks you, "Hey, BJ, how'd you get started in the business?" But that's something everybody wants to know.
Well, it's kind of an old story, really. A lot of people got into it this way, but of course, I grew up in Houston, Texas, and I kind of just grew up. Top 40 radio came about when I was 13, 14, something like that. So all the music was on one station, and from gospel to pop, rock and roll, symphony music. Everybody was on that station, and so I had always kind of sung. They told me that I sung when I was like a baby and like very young, and then I lived nearby churches growing up, as I guess we all have, and I sang in the church. I loved to go to church and hang out with the kids, and then I got kind of really taken in by the music. I love that Southern gospel music, and I would sing in church, and that's kind of how I got started. When I was about 15. Some friends of my brother's, my brother Jerry, were getting a band together, and a big popular band in our area there around Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and all that was a guy named Roy Head, who had Roy Head and the Traits. He's the guy that had Treat Her Right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's a great guy. He's a great friend of mine, and we used to follow those guys around when we were kids, and so. We kind of thought, man, we'd like to have a band like that. So that's kind of how we came about, and so we formed a band and started doing the music and basically just doing the top 40 chart and that kind of thing, and
what was
unbelievable.
What was the name of your first band, BJ?
I'm sorry, what?
What was the name of your first band?
Oh, the Triumphs.
Like the motorcycle?
Yeah.
Now, do you still?
And they have just recently. I talked to the sax player. I think it was even yesterday, of all things. But I just talked to them recently, and they had just retired. And I think the pandemic kind of brought that on. But of course, they had just decided to get off the road. But they were still. I still worked with them like once or twice a year. We would do charities and fundraisers and things like that. But they would give us a chance to work together. So.
And they would call you every.
Right now, so it was great. It was so much fun.
So and they would just always call you and ask you for free tickets to your shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. You know it. Yeah.
Well, you talking about.
Well, I loved working with them. We were basically an R&B kind of blues kind of band, and we did all Bobby Bland, Ray Charles, Chuck Berry, Little Richard stuff, and then we had like a 6-piece horn section, and
Wow.
it was a great band, a great learning. It was like being in school. It was a way for me to learn how to. I think all young musicians should try to get in a band, because it just gives you that that knowledge of how to do the music with a group of guys, and so that's how I started, and it always kind of has served me well.
So, what made you split with that band?
Well, we had a hit record. We had the chance to make our first album in '65, I guess it was. And we cut the album one night, and of course, we had no idea what was a hit record, but we kind of accidentally. I did a song called the old Hank Williams thing. I'm so lonesome I could cry for my dad on the album, and we had a song we thought was a hit, and we put the Lonesome on the B side. but Lonesome became my first million seller, and I had this hit record, so I began to get offers of actually all of us. B.J. Thomas and the Triumphs, or what we would call it at that time, and I got an offer to go out with Dick Clark with the band, and the band would back the all the other artists on the show, and 3 or 4 of the guys were in college, and a couple of guys worked for their fathers, and certain circumstances were there that. They didn't want to go on the road. It was kind of taking a chance, and they didn't want to do it. And I said, well, guys, I'm going to go. So I put together another band, and I went out with actually my first gig on the road was with James Brown.
Oh wow, the Godfather.
I toured with Mr. Brown for a week or so, and I worked with all the great Percy Sledge. Man, I worked with all those guys, and. Eventually, we toured with Dick Clark, and I had a new band, and just, I never came home, so to speak.
Is it true that when you was with James Brown, that people thought you were black?
Yeah, well, at first, I was kind of thought of as an R&B artist, as African American, and so subsequently, I worked with all the great, black artists. Ray Charles. I mean, I worked with Ray Charles. Eventually recorded with Ray, but I toured with those guys and worked with them, and it was like a dream come true for me because they were always my idols. And I worked with Jackie Wilson and James Brown and all these guys.
Holy cow!
Wow.
And it was great, man. I mean, it was really great, and I loved that, and I learned a lot from those guys. I mean, the black, I think our generation was like the best music of all time, and I think the black artists were doing it as good or better in most cases than anyone else. So they were the best writers, singers, performers, and of course we had Elvis and that kind of thing, but which was great. But the black artists have always been very important in the music industry, and I learned a lot from those guys about, if you sing a song, you got to believe it. That when you heard Jackie Wilson sing a song, well, you really felt that he meant every word he was singing. So that's something I took from them.
Well, now I've seen a lot of your shows, BJ. I never saw you doing any of the splits or anything like that, like James Brown did. So what's up with that?
No, that just wasn't. Yeah, that just. Wasn't my thing. I don't move a lot. I kind of took after Chuck Jackson when I was with Scepter Records. Chuck Jackson, and of course Ricky Nelson. Ricky Nelson was a very, he didn't move very much. He just blinked those eyes and sang. And so I wasn't one of the guys that jumped around and did a lot of stuff. But I was jumping around on the inside.
Well, I mean, you did that shooting that gun on the Academy Awards. That was pretty much action.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I'll always remember that. Great nights for me, and of course, Mr. Bacharach and Hal David won the Academy Awards, and I performed on the show, and just a great experience.
Now, how did you remain calm? I mean, all those superstars out there in the audience, and you have to come out there and be a star.
Man, I'm telling you, I was scared to death.
You didn't look like it.
I was so. I know. Yeah, I was. I think all entertainers, most performers, or even lawyers, or whatever, could probably in most professions, there's you've got to control your emotions and keep your nerves under control. And the best thing for that is knowing what you're doing. Of course, with the Academy Award show, we had a lot of rehearsal. Everything was down and rehearsed, and everybody knew what they were doing. So that helps you get through some things, and doesn't let the nerves get the best of you. But that's a part of it. I mean, my heart's always beating. I'm always, I've got a little gig sweat going, and I'm ready to go.
It's amazing. I mean, you've been around so many superstars. I mean, Bob Hope introduced you, and then following you up was Frank Sinatra. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, I walked right by. I finished my number. Sinatra was a huge idol of mine. I had all his records. I had 100 albums by Frank Sinatra, and he walked right by me, and I didn't even see him because I was very, very nervous. And of course, I was thrilled when I got through that I'd gotten it done and everything went well.
You dropped the mic on him. That's how you do it, Frank.
Oh no, I never thought that. I don't think I don't know. He probably could have done Raindrops pretty good himself.
Now, of course, you've had so many, top hits, and you've had so many Grammys. Well, you won 5 Grammys. Where do you keep all the memorabilia, and where do you keep all these awards that you've won now?
I don't know. They're around the house here somewhere. We don't really display them that prominently. I think probably most of the gold records and Grammys and things are down in the office. We have, of course, a little office here in the house, but because they were thrilling to get. I mean, it was just a dream come true, I guess, is a cliche, but it's kind of really is how it felt and how it was. So I was very fortunate to win those Grammys, and I had the first platinum albums in gospel history, and that was something I didn't know even was there when I made my first gospel record. But and performing on the Academy Awards, all those things. I tell you, when I look back on it, sometimes I'm amazed myself at some of the situations. I guess we all are after we go through a lot of years in our professions and whatever. But I've been very fortunate as a entertainer and a singer, and I can appreciate my memories.
Now, did you ever get to the point? You had hit after hit after hit. And all of a sudden, was there ever a time that just all of a sudden there was nothing?
Well, yeah, we kind of we got together with Gloria and I at I'm trying to think of the song, probably Wrong Song. Somebody had done Somebody Wrong song about that, and it was a #1 record in the country, and but I was not #1. I was kind of as low as I'd ever been, and Gloria and I just talked about it, and I just expressed to her that I was tired of just running and chasing this thing all the time, and she and I wanted to have more children. We had one daughter, and so I basically retired in '76, January '76, and we adopted this beautiful girl from Seoul, Korea, and then actually before we even went and got that baby, Gloria was pregnant. So we had those kids, and I started working like 15, 20 times a year, and kind of just devoted my time to the family, and I'm really glad I did that. So we just decided that we didn't care. Just trying to be #1 and chasing that thing all the time was just not something that we wanted to do. So we kind of go about it in a different way. You don't really, we show up every now and then, but we're not always trying to promote ourselves and do that kind of thing. I enjoy working, doing the one-nighters and seeing the people, and that is very satisfying to me.
So that's awesome. Now, you have, of course, 3 daughters. You have grandkids also as well, right?
I do. I got 4 grandkids, 3 granddaughters, and 1 grandson.
Wow.
The grandson is named after me. His name is Billy Joe Thomas Moore, and he's a beautiful child. And of course, I'm sure you probably have children yourself, and that's a real blessing there.
So now, what do they call you? Are you Grandpa? Are you Big Poppy? What is your grandfather name?
Mr. Thomas?
Yeah, I remember one time years ago, back in the early '70s, I came home off the road. I came in the back door there. We lived in Connecticut at that time, and I came in, and my daughter was about 2.5, 3 years old, And she said, "Hello, B.J. Thomas." It was like, "Hey, I've heard about you."
Yeah, you probably need to stay home a little bit more.
They call me Papa, and it's the family. I've loved my career, and I love being a singer and whatever. But we all know that we're just human beings, and I'm a husband, a father, and a grandfather, and that's the most important thing in my life.
Now, is anybody else in the family following in your footsteps? Are there any other singers, musicians, from kids to grandkids?
Well, I think a couple of the grandkids. I have one a granddaughter, Nadia, Nora's daughter, Nadia, who is a great voice and does Broadway type stuff. She's still in high school right now, so she's doing those high school plays and things. So has a fantastic voice, and little Billy Joe, he's got his guitars and he likes music, and they can all sing. All my kids and all the grandkids can sing a little bit, but it kind of takes that burning desire. Maybe one of them will have that real emotion and burning desire to do something music, and that's what it takes. But they can all sing a little bit.
Everybody has a bucket list, and I mean, I don't know what you would have on it. I mean, you even met Elvis, and
oh yeah.
So were you guys friends?
Well, I wasn't. I kind of made sure that I didn't get collected, or I wasn't like within the Memphis Mafia or any of that kind of stuff. But I did sing for Elvis a few times, Valentine's parties, Christmas parties he would give, and he would ask me to sing, and if I wasn't working, I would go and sing. And I think he liked me because I had a song called Mama back in the days, and I guess it's legendary how much Elvis loved his mother, as we all do. So I was around him a few times, and of course he came and cut all his comeback hits in the studio where I was recording, American Studio, with Chip Smallman and the American Studio Group. But hey, he was an awesome guy, and of course after Elvis died, I did his last show. I think there were 2 or 3 shows left on his schedule, and they canceled all the shows, but except for the one, and they asked me to do it, and so I did it in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I did his last show, so I was proud of that. And he was a wonderful guy. I think people realize now how difficult it was at certain times to be Elvis Presley, but he handled it beautifully, for most of his life. And there's some sadness there, but he left a beautiful record of music, and he was a beautiful guy in every respect, and he always treated me really, really great.
Well, now, of course, you've got fans all over the world, and the coronavirus is keeping a lot of people at home. Are you working on anything right now, BJ? I mean, is there anything new right around the corner that people can be excited about with your music?
Well, yeah, I am. I was scheduled to go to Muscle Shoals right when the quarantine kind of came about in March, April, and then we rescheduled the session for July 15th. But now that's not going to happen either. But I do have some real good material, and of course, Muscle Shoals is a legendary recording area, and I'm going in with Dan Penn, the songwriter, Dan Penn and Billy Lawson. Dan Penn wrote "Do Right Woman, Do Right Man" and "Cry Like a Baby" and various songs. So I was really looking forward to that. I'm still totally committed to that. I'm going to do that as soon as I can. I just being realistic. I'm looking at, I'm thinking it's going to be fall 21, and when we can get back to when I can get back to my music.
Now, you have a definite sound. I mean, I think everybody would know one of your songs when they come on. We're just kind of wondering, maybe there's a little rumor on the street that you're going to start start up like a gangster hip hop album that you're gonna do?
Oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna do the Kanye West medley. Music. No, you know. As a matter of fact, I can dig hip hop and rap in certain versions and certain songs. I get it. I get the message, and I feel good listening to it.
You're going to do a little sample of.
Music. The music business is always about who's the next guy, what's the new music. What's happening. So there's always things that come along that maybe don't fit me exactly, but I'm very accepting of other entertainers and new music, and I have no criticism.
And what we do here on the show, we promote local artists here in the state of Arkansas. And when we have a celebrity like yourself doing the interviews, we always ask them what bit of advice you would give to them to help them get going in this tough business.
Well, music to me has always been about the emotion. I really got that from Jackie Wilson, and you get that from Ray Charles and Bobby Bland and my idols when I started. So I think if you've got that feeling and it's just in your soul and in your heart, just keep it personal. You don't want to. A lot of the music now that we have a lot of the sameness, whereas you just keep your own personality. Don't try to sound like anyone else. And if you want to do it, just make sure you believe in what you're doing, and just let that go and let the natural progress go. And like I said, I think it's great for someone who's new to music. The best thing you can do is to get in a group, get in some kind of band, and start performing and getting that stage experience and how you react and how you become a part of a band. Because it's not like I'm known for whatever, but I've been very dependent most of my career on the bands I recorded with and the songwriters, and so. It's a team thing. Just get involved,
Perfect.
Outstanding.
There you go. Well, we're not going to keep you. We just wanted to say thanks for taking the time. We know you've got to go limber up to get ready to do those splits and the jumping jacks for your next concert. But is there any website? Is there anything that you want to direct people to so they can, kind of see what's happening with you right now?
Well, of course, I've got the Facebook, BJ Thomas Facebook and things, and I will be. You'll be hearing about that music I do in Muscle Shoals sooner or later.
Perfect.
Probably next fall. But I just really want to thank you guys for thinking of me. I appreciate your listeners keeping me around all this time and supporting my music, and thank you very much for that.
I tell you, if you're ever here in Little Rock, just call us up and we'll take you out for the best barbecue in the city.
Hey man, I'll do it. I've been there many, many times.
Well,
I'm looking forward to being back in Little Rock.
Yeah, but you're going to pay for it, BJ. Don't get this wrong or anything.
Oh, man.
I knew that. I knew radio guys.
Well, seriously, thanks for the time. Work on those rap lyrics, and hopefully we'll talk to you in the near future. And stay safe out there with the coronavirus, and hopefully we see you soon.
Oh, man, the same to you. You guys take care, and God bless you. And it was great talking to you.
Thanks, okay, you take care, man.
Okay, buddy. Bye-bye.
BJ Thomas.
There you go.
Holy shit. That was great. That guy, he's like almost 80 years old.
I know.
He's sharper than we are.
That's not saying
I lost
much.
track of some of the conversation, and I'm right here. I got it wrote down right here.
Hey, that's amazing. Almost 80 years old. I mean, he's worked with Elvis and
everybody.
Good gosh, James
Ray
Brown.
Charles.
I mean, how do you walk off of that stage starting out working with James Brown? How intimidating would that be?
Yeah, but every time, like I said, he always looks like he's so calm. I mean, the Academy Awards, I mean, all those superstars out there. And then you pass, Frank Sinatra. He was so nervous he didn't even see him.
Of course, Are you black? Of course, Ray Charles doesn't know that he's black.
Well, no, he said that, everybody thought because of his sound that he was black. And James Brown had to come out and say, hey, this guy's not black, but he's great. You got to give him a chance and listen to him. And that's pretty cool. James Brown, the godfather of soul.
Gotta love it. But we're out of here. So stay tuned. Always tune in. www.arkansasshowcaseradio.com. Should have some more interviews coming up. We'll have a little interview about Russellville Balloon Fest happening this weekend. But
we're kind of up in the air about that right now. But anyway, you guys stay tuned. The show only gets better and better as we grow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Mama manners and watch my mouth, and if my mama called my name, I said yes, ma'am. Learned to get up for work on Mondays, played hard on Saturday and church on Sundays, and if that sounds old-fashioned, well,